guys, it's Jessie and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. Today we have a super fun one because we're going to be talking about my most anticipated new book releases of 2023 for the second half of the year. So I did one of these videos at the start of the year for the first 6 months, and now I'm basically going to do the second 6 months because obviously the first half of the year those books kind of get announced towards the end of 2022, whereas these ones kind of only have been announced in the last few months or so. I mean, there might be a tiny bit of overlap in June. I can't remember where I cut off the point for last time, but I'm just going to go through my most anticipated releases for this year. So I have 11 books here. We've got a mix of romance, horror, thriller, and YA. Decent mix, I think, and I'm very excited to chat to you guys about them. So first off, we're going to talk about June releases because obviously this is coming out in June, so I'm just going to talk from now onwards new anticipated releases. This is also the most up-to-date UK release dates. These might release, you know, earlier, later in the US, depends. So first up we have Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. This is tagged as romance contemporary adult fiction on Goodreads, so I think it's going to be kind of along the same veins as her other books. So I'm going to read the descriptions of all these books. I am not good at reading out loud, so bear with. The many lives of theoretical physicist Elsie Hanaway have finally caught up with her. By day she's a professor, toiling away at grading labs and teaching thermodynamics in the hopes of landing tenure. But by other day, Elsie makes up for her non-existent paycheck by offering her services as a fake girlfriend, tapping into her expertly honed people-pleasing skills to embody whichever version of herself her client needs. Honestly, it's a pretty sweet gig until her carefully constructed Elsieverse comes crashing down, because Jack Smith, the annoyingly attractive and broody older brother of her favourite client, turns out to be the cold-hearted experimental physicist who ruined her mentor's career and undermined the reputation of theorists everywhere. And that same Jack who now sits on the hiring committee at MIT right between Elsie and her dream job. Elsie's prepared for an all-out war of scholarly sabotage, but those long penetrating looks, not having to be anything other than her true self when she's with him, will falling into an experimentalist orbit finally tempt her to put most of her guarded theories on love into practice. So this sounds very intriguing. It seems to be similar vibes to her other books, which I have loved. I didn't really like the STEMist novellas, but hopefully this should be good, and I think it's going to be more similar to Love Hypothesis and Love on the Brain than the others, just because it's obviously a full-length novel. So yeah, that one is coming out on the 13th of June, and then on the 20th of June we have another romance. I believe this is going to be on Kindle Unlimited, and this is Our Final Love Song by N.S. Perkins. I read one of her books in March, I believe, and I read The Infinity Between Us and I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. This one's tagged just as romance and contemporary romance. It says, Jamie and Emma's relationship is on the brink of death. After 5 years of dating, the high school sweethearts have run their course. At least that's what Emma thinks. While they're both highly trained pianists on the verge of their big break, Jamie's the only one who can't seem to prioritise them, and she's had enough. On the way to the musicians' retreat they spend their summer at, she finally tells them the truth. They're over. Their failing relationship seems to be their biggest problem. That is until they arrive at camp and realise something's very wrong. They've gone back a year in time. More than that, the two of them are the only ones who seem to notice it. This in itself isn't good, but what's worse is, in present time, the summer will be finalised by a major showcase that determines the fate of their careers. They need to find a way to go back, and fast. So if they have to work together to find a solution to their crazy time travel issue, then so be it. And if Jamie can find a way to make Emma fall in love with Kim in the process, well, even better. So, seems like a fun, like, little sci-fi romance type of thing, obviously with the going back in time part. I really like kind of second chance romance type of vibes. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Happy Place with the fake dating, so I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, I'm definitely going to pick that one up on Kindle Unlimited. Then we have only one release for July, and that is The Only One Left by Riley Sager, which comes out on the 5th of July. This is tagged as thriller, mystery, horror fiction. So I believe I might have mentioned this in my first one because this sounds familiar, but it says, at 17, Lenora Hope hung her sister with a rope, stabbed her father with a knife, took her mother's happy life. It wasn't me, Lenora says, but she's the only one not dead. Now reduced to a schoolyard chant, the Hope family murders shocked the Maine coast one bloody night in 1929. While most people assume 17-year-old Lenora was responsible, the police were never able to prove it. Other than her denial after the killings, she's never spoken publicly about that night, nor has she set foot outside Hope's End, the cliffside mansion where the massacre occurred. It's now 1983, and home health aide Kit McDurry arrives at a decaying Hope's End to care for Lenora after her previous nurse fled in the middle of the night. In her 70s and confined to a wheelchair, Lenora was rendered mute by a series of strokes and can only communicate by tapping out sentences on an old typewriter. One night, Lenora uses it to make a tantalizing offer: "I want to tell you everything." As Kit helps Lenora write about the events leading to the Hope family massacre, it becomes clear that there's more to the tale that people know. But when new details about her predecessor's departure come to light, Kit starts to suspect Lenora might not be telling the complete truth, and that the seemingly harmless woman in her care would be far more dangerous than she first thought. Okay, I'm not reading these out loud anymore. I cannot read out loud. I'm so bad at it. But this sounds really, really interesting, and I definitely want to pick this one up. I haven't actually read any Riley Saga yet. I've got The House Across the Lake on my TBR for this month, so hopefully I'll get around to it. But yeah, that one I'm really excited for. Then we have just one released in August, and that is Just Another Missing Person by Gillian McAllister. That's meant to come out on the 3rd. So basically, this is the author of Wrong Place, Wrong Time, which was a 5-star read for me last year. No, at the start of this year, but it came out last year. I read this in my Goodreads Choice Awards video, and I'm really excited for this one. I believe it's about a detective, and she has to solve this case, but if she finds out what actually happened, then something negative or something bad is going to happen to her family. It says her family's safety depends on her framing someone else for the girl's murder. So it sounds very intriguing. I don't know whether it's got a speculative element like the other one did. I hope it does, because that time travel part was really fun. But yeah, I'm very excited for that one. Then we've got Rouge by Mona Award, which comes out September 13th. This one is described as a gothic fairy tale about a lonely dress shop clerk whose mother's unexpected death sends her down a treacherous path in pursuit of youth and beauty. Can she escape her mother's fate and find a connection that is more than skin deep? So I believe this is kind of like a woman who's obsessed with skincare and stuff like that, and I think it gets a bit gory potentially in that type of thing. She finds a clue about her mother's death, and it's like got a cryptic video about a spa experience or something, and she's like lured there and she's like finding out stuff about her mother. It says the demons that lurk on the other side of the glass, so I don't know whether this is going to be more like speculative horror or like realistic horror. We'll see. But yeah, it sounds very intriguing. It's tagged as horror fiction, gothic, adult literary fiction, contemporary thriller, so that will be very exciting to read. Then we've got on the 14th of September The Last Devil to Die by Richard Osmond. This is the next book in the Thursday Murder Club series. It says, on Boxing Day, a dangerous package is smuggled across the English coast. When it goes missing, chaos is unleashed. The body count starts to rise, including someone close to the Thursday Murder Club, as our gang face an impossible search and their most deadly opponents yet. I think in this one, aside from the one that they just mentioned, I think there's going to be a character death that's going to make me cry so much in one of the upcoming books. But yeah, I don't want anyone too close to the gang to die, because I literally love all the characters in this so much. This is going to be the 4th one in the Thursday Murder Club series. It's one of my favourite series. I literally adore it so much, so I will be picking that up immediately. And then lastly for September, we've got on the 26th The Wake Up Call by Beth O'Leary. So I believe it's about 2 rivals having to work together to like save their hotel that they work at. I think it's going to be kind of just a classic romance. I kind of enjoyed the flat share and kind of enjoyed the road trip by her. So I mean, she doesn't have the best track record for me, but nothing negative. It's kind of just like easy romances really, so it's kind of going to be just like a classic rivals slash enemies to lovers, so I probably will pick that up at some point. And then we have The Christmas Appeal by Janice Hallett. So this is like, it's 224 pages. I thought it was going to be a short story, but it's actually kind of like reasonably full length, and it's following the cast of The Appeal, and I believe it's probably told in a similar way. And basically the Santa at Christmas is murdered, and it's Femi and Charlotte again trying to figure out who basically killed him. So very interested in that. I really enjoyed the first one, so I can't wait for that. And then we've got Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood on the 7th of November. So this is her first YA book. She's coming out with 2 books this year, and I believe this is 2 chess rivals, and I think it's basically a girl kind of coming out of nowhere and beating the like reigning champion stuff, and then they have a little rivals to lovers type of vibe. It's giving very much the Queen's Gambit, which I did enjoy. But yeah, this is a YA romance, and I do think I might enjoy this a little bit more from Ali Hazelwood, because the one thing I don't like in her adult romances is her smut. I find it so cringy and so awkward. I like can't stand it, I can't lie. But yeah, I'm really excited about this. It says in the little description bit, life's moving pieces bring rival chess players together in a match for the heart. So sounds very cute and definitely very intrigued by it. And then on the 7th of November, we've got Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry. This is the, I think it's a prequel to Legends and Lattes. It's basically similar vibes. I think it's got Viv again. I haven't read the initial book, but I have got it at home. I think it's basically the same vibes, like just in a bookshop. Gonna be so cute, low stakes fantasy. I'm very excited for it. Cozy mystery, romance, LGBT, fiction, adult fantasy. So very cute. I cannot wait. I hope it has a matching cover to the really nice UK edition of the Legends and Lattes, because that is a gorgeous like little special edition and I really want them to be matching. Then finally we have Betting on You by Lynn Painter. This one is coming out on the 23rd of November. I think this is YA because it's about a 17-year-old, and I think it's basically just fake dating, kind of like rivals to lovers type of thing. I mean, all of her books are just very cute rom-coms, so I'm very excited. And I read Better Than the Movies recently and really enjoyed it, so I definitely want to pick up other of her books as well as this new release. So yeah, if you guys would rather have me read like the full descriptions, do let me know, and I will do that for my next one at the end of the year. But yeah, I just feel like it was just taking so long, and I was like, I always skip through when people read the blurbs and stuff. So I think instead, obviously, I'm just going to leave this one where I've just popped it on the screen just so you can read it. If you want, you can pause, but otherwise I will just kind of leave it as me giving like a brief description of the book rather than actually me going through the full blurb, because one, I'm bad at reading aloud, two, it's boring. I'm just like blah, 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 reading it through, and I just think it's better if I just give a brief synopsis. But yeah, anyway, I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a like down below, hit subscribe, turn on the bell to join a little club, and make sure you turn on all notifications, then you'll be notified every single time I post a new video. If you want to watch one of my other videos, there'll be two on screen now to pick from, as well as linked up in the cards from earlier. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.